All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Advance requests for medical assistance in dying will be permitted in Quebec as of October 30th. Now, faced with Ottawa's refusal, dragging its feet to amend the criminal code, Justice Minister Simon Jolin Barrette is intervening to protect doctors from possible prosecution. We now go to Aaron Derfel, health reporter with the Montreal Gazette, to unpack all of this. Aaron, welcome back to the program.
Good morning, Elias.
So what exactly is Quebec doing here? Ottawa has dragged its feet. How is Quebec protecting doctors and others from prosecution?
Okay, so you'll recall that when Ottawa several years ago adopted the law allowing medically assisted death and dying, it had to amend the criminal code because there is actually an article in the criminal code that makes it a crime to aid and assist in a suicide. So, in first adopting this law, it protected doctors when they administered what's known as MAID. So, the Ottawa had initially proposed expanding medically assisted dying to people with mental illness and including advanced directives for those who could foresee that they would be developing something like Alzheimer's dementia. But there was such a backlash, especially from groups representing those who suffer from mental health issues, that Ottawa has imposed a moratorium on this. This is too much of a political football for Ottawa. So Quebec has decided to go it alone. It did that in 2015 when it became the first province to adopt, medically assisted dying. So the last hitch for Quebec to do it is to say, well, in the case of advanced directives for those who foresee that they're going to develop dementia, they would have to amend the criminal code. Quebec wanted to press Ottawa to amend the criminal code, and Ottawa's position was if we do it, the criminal code has to apply from coast to coast. You can't have exceptions just for Quebec. You have to do it for Quebec. They have to do it for the whole country. But Quebec has decided, forget that. We're gonna go it alone, as basically it did in 2015.
So does that basically mean Quebec saying, "Hey, we're not going to prosecute"? Put the word out. We're just not going to prosecute, or is there some other mechanism they're using?
No, that's precisely it. So in Quebec, you have the Directeur de Poursuites Criminelles et Pénales, the prosecutor's office. So, say if someone makes a complaint, and there are, for example, some religious groups who are deeply opposed to medical assistance in dying, they might file, just say theoretically, but they would probably do it, file a criminal complaint, and then but then the DCPC won't lay charges. It'll just file. I don't even know if there will be a file. Mm-hmm. It won't go anywhere. But I can foresee that this will end up in court, that there will be some type of group that will challenge Quebec's decision to go ahead with this without an amendment to the criminal code.
With Aaron Derfel from the Montreal Gazette talking about medical assistance in dying and some changes that Quebec is making on October 30th when it comes to advance requests. So, Aaron, this is a contentious issue. I hear it from our listeners, and personally, I've always thought, hey, someone should have that dignity to choose when they go. And then over the years, as you find out that a larger and larger percentage of deaths are coming via medical assistance in dying, and then you hear sometimes stories from people who say, I have a condition, it's not that bad, but it's one of the options that was presented to me was medical assistance in dying. And the growing worry that we're using this as opposed to well-funded hospitals, access to care, quick surgeries, and that kind of thing.
That's another debate, and it's a very, very valid debate that I'm working on this issue because the government actually set up a commission to monitor medical assistance in dying to its credit, and for a 12-month period, I guess it would be like a fiscal year from April of 2022 to March 31st of 2023. That's the most recent year. There were 5,211 deaths as a result of medical assistance in dying, and that increase shot up. That was like a 42% increase from the previous year. Quebec's rate of all deaths, 6.6% are MAID deaths in Quebec, compared to 4.4% in the rest of the country. Quebec has the highest MAID rate in the world, and because of this, the Quebec government has set up a task force to investigate the reasons for this dramatic increase. My theory is that it's not that. Well, first of all, healthcare is in a shambles in Quebec. Second, palliative care, end of life care, is not that accessible, or it's palliative care in name only, and it's so bad that at one point, some of these people say, forget it, I'm just going to accelerate things and request MAID. Yeah. So this rapid increase in the number of deaths as a result of medical assistance in dying, it's raising troubling questions because it's occurring in the context of a healthcare system is in disarray, and some people who are suffering from horrible, debilitating illnesses. And that it might be terminal. They're probably thinking I might be too much of a burden on my family, so I'm just going to end it. But if our healthcare system were in better shape, if palliative care were more readily available, and the quality of palliative care was much better, then we might not see such a dramatic increase in these numbers.
And Aaron, let's also, Quebec is the most secular part of North America. That may, the 2 percentage point difference may be explained by just secularism. We go to church less, and some of the feedback I get, and the people that are saying, hey, we're going down the wrong path, does, as you mentioned, comes from religious communities, right?
Yes.
So
it's interesting because I interviewed the family of this woman who sought medical assistance in dying, and she was Quebec was a Catholic, Roman Catholic, but attitudes are changing, notwithstanding the fact that you do have these religious groups who have strong objections.
Aaron, do have to leave it there. Always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.